Hello and welcome to Standard Digital for this special edition on the occasion of the award of the Gambian of the Year 2022. This year the award goes to Karamba Touray, a retired former Auditor General at the National Audit Office. Now, during his time as Auditor General, Karamba Touray transformed that very institution which looks at the way government and public monies are spent in a drive to make them accountable and properly expended in the name of the Republic of the Gambia. During his time also, Mr. Touray presided over or issued audit reports that really made headlines and were talking points all over the Gambia in government, private, and even in international circles. So because of his tremendous achievement over the year under review, the Standard has decided to confer on Mr. Touray our prestigious award, the Gambian of the Year 2022. So I'm pleased to welcome you. I'm Lamin Cham, Editor-in-Chief, to meet Mr. Karamba Touray, the retired Auditor General himself. Mr. Touray, welcome to the Standard, and congratulations on your selection as the Gambian of the Year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cham, and thank you to the Standard newspaper. I am honored to be considered for this prestigious award. I am very honored, not only me, because I have seen this as a recognition, not my contribution, but the role that the National Audit Office plays in public financial management in the country. I am so this will be inspiration for my successors and the other colleagues to continue the hard work that they are doing to ensure that the path that we have begun together, they continue on the path, that very path, to ensure that our public purse and public monies are accounted for in accordance with the Constitution and the edicts of the National Assembly. Thank you very much.
Good. We will get into the nitty-gritties of your work, but first, how did it all begin for you, your professional life as an accountant stroke auditor?
Thank you, Lamin Cham. I think I became an incidental auditor. I did not know the audit office. Then it was the Auditor General's office,
yes.
Before I joined them.
Okay.
When we left school at that time, actually public work was not difficult to get. Actually, we wait for our results at the Ministry of Education.
Yeah.
You go there and then you are posted to a school.
Yeah.
That's
yes. At the time, of course,
exactly. When we
there weren't many
waiting for the results. Yeah, there were many.
There was no competition at all
in terms of work. Yeah, and then there was also the clerical school. You sit to this government entrance,
yes.
do the exams, and then you are posted to an institution.
Okay.
That's how I came to join the audit. When I was posted, I given my letter, collected my letter from PSC.
This was in 1981.
1981. I did not know where audit office was. I had to ask people to show me where, and don't even know what audit is about. Really.
Yes.
I think then there was the Auditor General was Mr. E.G. Evans.
Oh.
He was the last white man actually to serve as Auditor General.
Okay.
Yeah, he was E.G. Evans at the time.
So how did it all then? How did you fare? That is a good 30 years or 32 years or 31 years ago or so ago. 40 years actually, yes.
40 years ago, really.
Yeah. How did you find the work at the time?
Yeah, I think it was satisfying. in the sense that our work was cut out for us. Clearly, then there was this Financial and Audit Act that clearly states what we needed to do in our function.
Okay.
All that we do is guided by regulation and law. So that helps us. That's why I say when people complain, I say you can only complain, go and change the regulation. Once the regulations is changed, then we will not act this way.
Okay.
We are only doing this because this is what the law said we should do.
Over the last 40 years, you served on the, Jawara's administration, Jammeh administration, and the current government of President Barrow. Now, if you are to compare, how or in which period was the job too challenging for you? Because as auditor, of course, you're expected to look at the expenditures, how people manage, or government officials manage public expenditure. Which period provided the most challenging?
I think, the period that provided the most challenging is the last 20 years, of course, when I joined the administration of the office.
Oh, okay.
All along, I am just a staff.
Oh, you were just a staff?
Yes, but in 2000, that is in the time of my predecessor, actually, Mr. Sankare, when he took over as Auditor General.
Okay.
That's when I began to take responsibility in terms of administering the office and providing the strategic direction. Okay. I contributed in providing the strategic direction to the office. You know, we were a government department in Jawara's time. But when the 1997 Constitution came in, it provided for an
independent National Audit Office.
National Audit Office.
Yes.
But of course, the executive was not receptive to that idea.
One would have thought that that would have been the best practice and the best, time for you to assume independent roles.
Absolutely.
But then, as you are saying, it became problematic.
It is. It was not. Executive was not very receptive to the idea of independence.
Oh, okay. Even though they spearheaded its creation.
Absolutely. I think
that's ironic.
Maybe they were, when they realized, because power is all about power play.
I see.
People don't willingly give up power. Nobody does that. And making the National Audit of Independence is about giving them power to act independently. I think that must have been the problem.
So there was interference.
A little bit, in terms of getting that,
Okay.
But then I was not the original.
Yes.
This was actually Abubakar. First it was MI took over from the white man.
Okay.
And then Fatoumata. Fatoumata began in, I think, sometime in 1992 or 93. It started that time. And 93, I think. Fatoumata started in 1993. And then, of course, I'm sure you know about the history.
Yeah.
Fatoumata was removed.
I know.
There was a tribunal set of removed. And then Boubacar was appointed in November 2000. Boubacar took over. Yeah. And Boubacar was also removed in
similar circumstances.
Although for him there was no tribunal, he was simply dismissed. A short letter about one paragraph.
And all this had to do with the fact that the government would not allow you to do your work independently as has been enacted by the laws that created you.
But they would not also come out clearly because
but everybody knew that would be
exactly.
Okay.
Because government would not say that.
Well, okay.
So when I took over, it was in 26 June. By that time we had started working on something.
Which year?
2013. 13. That before then we had started working on something, talking to people because you need support for this independence process. So when Boubacar left, I continued that process, and by 2015, of course, toing and froing, take this out. The president himself said, take this out. We cannot put it. We wanted to involve the opposition. That's his best practice in terms of the management of the office, the board. They were not receptive. That's why up to now we don't have that. But in some instances, the opposition is involved in the management of the board. So that they can have a say in the running of the office and of course access to these reports.
Okay.
And so when I continued, I had to get support. One of my key supports in that was Bala Jahumpa. He was the chair of the cabinet subcommittee at the time.
Okay.
And of course, to crown it is Abdul Koli. That's why I always say that this office is Abdul Koli's.
They were ministers of finance.
Minister of finance.
And they were chair of the cabinet committee.
Yeah, absolutely. Bala Jahumpa helped a lot in terms of talking to the
president for them to understand.
For me to accept some of these things.
Okay.
Yeah, at some point he said, hey, look, I don't think you better take this. I cannot. I say no, you cannot take this one now. And I tried to involve Abdul to
basically, the government is not comfortable with your reporting of how the public monies were expended.
No, in that case, it was about the independence.
Independence. Right, that's right. Okay, that was it.
During my tenure as Auditor General under the previous regime, I think it's only one instance where I've been questioned about my report.
I see.
And that was during this.
Ben Jammeh was as Inspector General as well as.
No, this was during when time he was seeing drug law enforcement.
Oh, he was the head of the drug.
Also overseeing the NIA.
NIA
at the time.
Okay.
Yes, that was the time I had trouble. That's the time I was questioned about my report. And this is a report in relation to the drugs at that Bonto.
At that Bonto thing.
Yeah, that's what we were.
Oh, can you take us? That was an interesting because what we know was that a large catchment of drug was seized from Bonto. And then, but then of course we had allegedly, some people, top people, including former President Jammeh, were said to have connection with that. So how did you come to be in trouble with them?
No,
did you
have access?
What has the Auditor General to do with that?
No, everything. Audit has to do everything.
So you were auditing what the amount of drugs?
We wanted they need to weigh it so that we confirm. So that when it is being disposed of, we also confirm that in fact it has not been tampered with. Essentially, that was our.
But then drug wasn't going to be considered generally as a public money or public.
Yeah, but it has implications on our finances, particularly in our economy. Because when the drug money comes into our economy,
I see. So you mean, you need to know in case it gets into. Okay.
The idea
now I understand.
We make sure that it is destroyed as regulations require. Essentially, that was our.
So what happened? What did you observe? What did your office observe?
We have difficulty in getting access to the drugs. Yeah, Ben was not, and then he made some allegations and reported. So I was called.
I see. So one would have assumed that they said you were fussy or trying to know something.
That's state security and whatever, a lot of things.
I see. But you saw that as a way, of course, of blocking you from knowing exactly the status of the drugs.
Absolutely.
So you wouldn't be surprised when later it became known.
No, surprise of no surprise. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
So when he wrote that I was asked to go and report to the State House, Ben was. And he was threatened for this. Yeah. Ben was asked to cooperate with me.
But that's how it ended.
But that's how it ended. We went, the place was sealed. But when the seal was broken later, we were not informed. And in the social process, we are not informed. And regulations said we should be informed there. They could not have broken that seal without inviting us to be present.
But in any case, you never know what happened.
Yeah, eventually we did not know. No.
Were you surprised when you later heard that maybe the president or some people in high office had connection with it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
It is, how do you call it? The temptations around drugs are
very high.
The money involved, very high.
Okay. Let's talk about the present dispensation. Over the last 2-3 years, your office had to do with a lot of auditing, and you came out with reports that really made headlines.
Yeah.
Let's start with the elephant in the room, the COVID funds. Your report was very critical of the way some of these part of it were managed. To an extent that there was a public outcry, and people quoted your audit report and use it to justify the arguments, to come to the point that corrupt practices having existed according to the Auditor General.
Absolutely.
How do you feel when all those things have been said and people, of course you were doing a job, but were you under any pressure after the audit reports were released?
Of course, you are always under pressure, particularly when your employer begins to complain.
Yes, in that case the Gambian government.
Absolutely. Instead of concentrating, focusing on the observations and the recommendations that are common, now we have become the subject ourselves. That was a difficult one to take, particularly. But let me say that we stand by that report.
Yeah.
We have carried out due diligence to come to those recommendations. You know, the good thing about audit reports now, you know, formally when I started, you go to an institution, you write your report without the contribution of the auditee.
Auditee.
That is not happening now.
Now
we write and give you.
Yes.
Yeah, and give you and say, this is what we have found, and you also make your own comments. If you don't agree, we'll add another comment. But we write and give you, and when you react, we put that also in the report. So the reports are there for everyone to see what we have observed, what we thought we saw there, and the recommendations that we made, and the comments of the auditees themselves. You know that COVID involved a lot of actors. It's not only the...
But there was a committee, central committee responsible for it, yes.
Absolutely.
So, and some of their practices, your report found them wanting.
Absolutely. It was chaotic, we said that in our report.
Yeah.
The management of the entire process was very chaotic, it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
And before they started that, I have written to the Secretary General to say that in this circumstance, this is what is ideal. Yeah. This is what we needed to do. Yeah.
They were all ignored.
That was ignored. Yeah,
and in the name of it's an emergency.
Yeah,
they often said it's an emergency.
Yeah. In fact, we mentioned that. In fact, this is the time that we should be very careful.
More prudent.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Because that is the time there are excuses for malpractices.
And let me tell you, I think we are vindicated. You have seen the report.
Of course, we've seen the report.
Vindicated, and it is sad. And the second part, but the saddest thing is that the government refused to act on the...
They recommended, that's what I'm coming to. How do you feel, having done such a good work, commended all over, and you see that the recommendations have not been implemented?
It is difficult, but I always said that we are a reporting agency. And what we needed to do is to report. And report accurately. And we are doing it. You never know. Yeah. In fact, technology has improved. Formerly, these things are archived and put in.
Exactly.
Now people put it in website.
I was coming to that. You know, in the past, they said, okay, audit reports come, they're just normal, they're observations and shelved and gather dust. Now you publish it. You've been accused of trying to sabotage the government by publishing reports that are damning about the way public funds are managed. Yeah. So it interests me to know that whether there have been any direct threats or, intimidation directed at your office.
No, there is no.
You were not called at State House and been told that, look, your reports are really giving us very bad publicity.
I heard that, but that is later. We had something like that, particularly in relation to the secure report. We had that. Yeah, the
secure report, airport, airport tax that many criticized
absolutely
was not even going to government cuts.
Absolutely. We had that.
You had cause to be called to question about the report.
About the report, yes.
By the present government at State House.
Absolutely, yeah.
How do you feel? Isn't that not interference?
It is in a sense. It is.
So it was
because essentially the aim is to intimidate, actually, so that we are careful next time. Essentially, that is it. But even there,
you defended it. You defended you.
That if you don't want us to do it this way, you must go to the regulations that guide our process. We change that. We do it as as long as these ones are there. This is how we are going to go forward.
You've argued that you've always published your reports many years ago, but they have not made such a wavelength.
No, the problem is that technology is also advanced. We did not have a website. This website was built around 2019, and we began operation in 2020. What we were doing before is to place documents at the National Library. So if you go back 2007,
you see them there.
2007, 2008.
So it was a case of
people reported on Gamtel. So we have reported on bigger issues than this COVID.
It was like people were not interested in it.
Absolutely, they are not reading. If we are going to our reports,
they would have seen
the sale of Gamtel.
You reported all that?
Yeah, it's there. The spectrum involvement.
Yes.
Yeah, the $30 million, they are all there.
So it was a case that people were not interested, or they didn't even know where to look for it.
That's why there was this accusation that we are not doing this before. I said no.
Yes, I heard you say.
Reporting has been consistent. This is it is not, this is what the law requires us to do. And that's what we are doing all along.
Were you bothered when people said you probably are working in the interests of politicians, opposition politicians? Because were you not once accused of meeting the politicians or sympathizing the opposition?
Yes.
So you're trying to...
But even under the previous regime, that accusation
was still there.
But cognizant of that possibility, because I know the work that the audit does for me is key, it's paramount. And as I always say, audit is my baby. So important for me that I have sacrificed my social life for a long time. For me, it is home, office, home, nowhere else. I don't have a VU. I have never joined any political party. I am still an independent person. I have never joined political party. Well, I have friends. This is Gambia, of course. I have friends in all political parties almost. But that's how far it goes. For me, my work at the National Audit Office is sacrosanct. Nothing interferes with that. Nothing. I think the COVID thing, when it came, you know what died it down? No, that was there was this 600 something million.
Yes, I was coming to that too. Where that is when your audit report highlighted accounts that were meant to be closed, accounts that were criticized very well under the Jammeh regime and were meant to be closed. Yet they weren't closed and money continued to be put there. You reported that, and it was stated that 600 something million. And people were not happy with that, and there had to be clarifications, etc. Can you explain that? What happened in that?
Yeah, I think they were, they wanted to politicize it.
Yeah, exactly.
Essentially, that's the idea. But essentially, what we were saying, we have asked this account to be closed because it is illegal. It is going outside the government side. It was closed, and they reopened again. So that made it illegal, and money spent from it. I remember when I was talking to Omar at some point in the
journalist,
I could be paid from this myself.
You could have been paid. You didn't know.
People who are paid in, it's not the issue. It's about opening the account and putting this money in there, circumventing the accounting system. So,
that is where the wrongdoing is.
That's where the wrongdoing is. I think it was when they said they found, I think the opposition leader's name there.
Yes.
Okay, it's not UDP. But before then, that's the accusation, that we are trying to help the opposition party. But when they saw this
when they saw people, it could have been anybody. Actually, it's not the recipients, but the people who created the account.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it didn't be closed.
Oh, I see.
Because essentially it was created for that purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. To circumvent the
accounting system.
They said the idea, when we questioned, actually they said because the process is slow. No, it's not no longer slow. It's no longer slow. That before you get these payments and whatever, if you plan, nothing is slow when you plan accordingly.
Was there any time that the government or some public official whose ministry or institution you were auditing tried to bribe you, for example, to offer you monetary gains so that you can report them in a positive light, or people who fear that the report is going to implicate them in some sort of a fraud? In fact, let me ask, I think some of your recommendations actually straight away recommended for police action.
Absolutely, yes.
Have that been done?
They have.
There have been incidents.
But like I said, there are capacity issues at the police too. The squad, in terms of that investigation process. They have, and recently they have shared some of the reports with us. When you look at it, you will know that they could have done better.
They have capacity problems.
Yeah, capacity problems. That's where we work on.
But have there been any prosecution out of this, your recommendations?
Yes, there are. There have been. Usually, but it takes a long time. I remember there are cases as far back as 2014 that have not been completed.
That have not been completed.
I know. Yeah, as far back 2014 that are still not been completed, and these were actually cases of
outright fraud, corruption.
Yeah, outright fraud.
Yeah. And no action have been taken over them, isn't it?
No.
Or not completed?
Not completed. The cases are not completed. Maybe, I don't know whether they have even been abandoned.
They have been abandoned.
Yeah.
So I come back to the question. Have you ever been, everybody tried to induce you out of reporting, reporting fairly about, or correctly about their institutions or management?
People have talked to me about my reports, but of course, like I said, I always said, If you tell me that this is not true, then that's my problem. I have a problem there. But you say, why don't you write it
that way?
There's no.
You never accept to do that.
No.
Even if for whatever money.
No. I've never been offered money as Auditor General.
Okay.
But I'll not be surprised if my staff
could have been tempted to do
that is possible because I was there to myself.
But did you ever know any case? No, you have no such a case.
My staff, of course, if you leave the office. You leave the office.
Of course.
When that has come to light, you leave the office.
You leave the office.
But already there is a draft that we have not completed. But that's will go to the National Assembly. National
Assembly. You must get some level.
For my staff, this is
level of education or integrity checks or what?
Absolutely.
Okay.
That is my successor, the new Auditor General will preside over it. So very soon. That also includes the surcharge that people are complaining.
Yes.
The Constitution says that we can surcharge.
Yes, that's right. Can you explain that? When they mean surcharge, what do you mean? What do they mean?
Yeah, that is to disallow. When for example, some of the recommendations we have that recover, when you buy a bottle of water, we thought it did not go according to regulation, we can say no, we are not allowing this expenditure, you pay for it.
Okay.
But it involves a lot of other administrations around it that needed to be provided for. That's why we have reviewed the act. The act is not reviewed. We'll also do a regulation to guide it. Because I'm expecting that when Karamba is so charged, then Karamba need to step aside until the matter is resolved.
Yes.
Like if I'm Auditor General and I've been found wanting and I'm so charged, I cannot remain in that office.
Yeah, that's right.
So you need regulations to guide all of those processes.
That's been processed.
Why people say you have this, you are not doing. But so we need to have laws,
regulations
to how to administer it essentially. So what is envisaged is that once this regulation is passed, the act is amended, then they'll make regulations so that they work in concert with the Public Service Commission. So once it's so charged, they'll inform the Public Service Commission who will trigger the necessary, either suspension, interdiction or whatever, and then that will make, and then that will also strengthen the public financial management.
We mentioned the COVID and the security reports, and of course the unauthorized reopening of bank accounts that have been suspected to have been set up to go around the system. What other major auditing exercises have you conducted that have raised big issues?
That's the Banjul rehabilitation.
That's the Banjul rehabilitation. I'm coming there. Yes. So you made a lot of recommendations. You stand by all that.
All of them.
You talk about how the project was even before certain documentations are done and contract was get. I mean, that caused a lot of issues. I mean, tell me once again, how, in your personal perspective or official perspective, sum it up for all, how do you see the Banjul project?
It's a fraud.
It's a fraud?
Yeah. That's my opinion. I have said that even to his national partners. I said, look, it's a fraud. Essentially, that is it. And at that time, I knew the contractor did not have the capacity. This is a small Gambian.
Absolutely.
Don't have the capacity to carry out that work.
And you reported, of course, that you had the reactions when the government was trying to say that how beneficial that contract is to the Gambian, even though a lot of people criticize it to be.
And instead of the contractor doing a press conference, government
was doing the conference.
That's the sad part. For the government to stoop so low as to go and defend a contract. That's the sad part of it.
Now, for all this candid reporting of government expenditure, the COVID, the CTO report, the unauthorized accounts, as well as the Banjul rehabilitation project, you won the admiration of a lot of Gambians, and I'm sure a lot of other people, stakeholders, to be somebody who did his job very well. If you're going to serve as an inspiration and going to talk about how government monies should be managed, what would be your advice?
You see, there are sufficient guidance in our books to regulate the financial management system. The only reason is that people simply don't follow the regulations. That's our major problem. The regulations are discarded for purpose of expediency and whatever. that is our major problem. We need to respect those regulations, and particularly the independent institutions should be allowed to operate freely. This is the National Audit Office. This is the Public Procurement Unit. These are key. You know, 75% of our major things are procurement processes. Those are the areas that we needed to strengthen, to allow them that independent decision. In fact, that's what helps the executive. If you allow this independent office to operate independently, then you can supervise them appropriately. But if you keep on interfering, then that's a problem. That's a problem.
All right, let's talk about, we're sliding down now. The office itself, you left on a very strong footing. When your replacement, or when you left, people started casting doubts as to whether the strength and the, the things you have done in terms of work and, getting the performance of the institution, whether it will still continue. Do you have any doubt or hope? How hopeful are you that your legacy will continue?
I am very hopeful because I have a management team that is still on the ground. These are the foot soldiers. Actually, all the side where I will tell people is to provide the strategic direction. I was sitting there, I'm not going to the field to do the work. If they don't bring it, then I don't. So I think I have every confidence on my staff that they will do. And my successor too has been in the audit field. He was the internal auditor. I have known him for a long time. When he was in accountant general, before he even moved to internal audit. I knew him. And I trust that they will continue that path. I think, I'm not sure whether they have any choice other than to continue this path. Because, I said here that we are a government department. Audit only came into being in 2016.
You said
we are a government department all that time.
All along.
So the act came in I became Auditor General in 2013, around second half of 2013. Then we have this act in 2015. In 2016, we begin to operate independently. When I took over, we have a staff of about 40.
Now there is?
About 40, now about 165 when I left. Gradually, and there are still vacancies. We have, because the ideas, this is with my management, the ideas that we have is to also complement the fraud squad. So there is a fraud unit that we are going to set up. Already vacancies that nobody is appointed. So I'm sure they will do all of those. We have a quality assurance that has now been established to work on the. In fact, we have carried out on audit firms. We have done audit on audit
firms themselves.
We have done that, and both parties are satisfied that it is well. So that quality assurance is going to be set up to be auditing the audit institution itself to make sure that our reports are in line with the laws and regulations and that they are high quality, international standards. I think the trajectory is fine. I have all the confidence that it is good. Although preferably if my successor had come from within the office would have been more comfortable with us and also motivational for the staff, because that's what we all aspire for, to reach to the top. If somebody comes from outside, it's a little bit, but of course we had a lot of conversation with my staff like that. Some of these things.
In other words, you would have loved somebody taken from your staff to bring in somebody.
I have no contribution around that end.
But do you know there have been issues like people talking that somebody shouldn't have come outside if there was no ulterior motive? You heard that?
And I have written to the president to say that although I do not have any hands in that, I'm not taking any, making any
preference, but you recommend
qualified people in the office to be taken. I've said that.
You did that before the successor come or after?
I did that when I retired first in 2021, and I did it about 3 months before my retirement. I wrote to say the end of my contract. My contract is due to end in November. This was around end of August, but I think later went around the.
You recommended that.
I said yes.
It would have been better.
Begin looking for an alternative, so that there is no
when your contract expires, or when it was known that you were leaving, people of course know that it's of course because your contract expired. But people said even if it hasn't, even if there was any intention, there wouldn't have been any desire on the part of the government to extend it because of the because of the nature of your work. Do you think there was any no. Was there any opportunity in fact for you to have an extension or another one?
Yes, contracts usually contracts.
Yeah.
The maximum high limit of contract is 6 years. It cannot be more than 6 years.
You only serve 2.
No, only one really.
Only once.
Only 1 year, yeah, 1 year contract.
Normally, it can last for up to 6 years.
Contract can go up to 6 years according to our regulations, general orders.
Yeah. Do you want to believe independent people's observation that there wouldn't have been any desire on the part of the government to renew yours simply because of your...
I agree with that observation. Let me say that a major contract, I'm not going to name the name, of course, told me, before I retired, we met and we said, Sangurbi Sonal Nama. This is what he said in local language. And he said, would you retire in November? In my face? Yeah? I said, yes.
This was sometime, top public official?
No, this is a major contract. It's not a government.
Oh, it's not it's a contract.
Yeah? Okay. But he knew my contract is ending.
Yeah.
He knew I was on contract. He knew it's ending November. He said, this is a contract November.
I see.
Alhamdulillah.
So this shows,
he told me,
and you think this is
sometime around,
and you know this is
May,
and this is a reflection of what people even in the government might think of you. So you were not surprised that your contract is not renewed.
I'm not surprised.
Okay. Finally, who audits the Auditor General's office too?
That's
the National Audit Office.
Yeah, the National Assembly appoints auditors.
I see.
Who audit us. And they open from audit firms here locally. We have no participation, no contribution in that one.
Okay.
They appoint auditors and they come and audit and present our reports.
What have been their reports about your own management of your public fund? Have there been adverse?
No, we have never received that. Likely it is about procurement issues.
Yeah, in fact, that was I was
likely
good.
Issue is about procurement issues that I remember once I can remember that one that stand out that we bought from somebody who is not registered with GPPA.
I see.
Yeah, and they got it right, but we didn't know at the time because he presented
a certificate. Oh, that was fraudulent.
Yeah,
I see.
But that was the last time he presented. Let me not name him, but that's the last time we had any relationship with him.
Yeah.
It was terminated immediately, and we said, no, we'll look for an alternative. We will not work with you again. Yeah, he did. Yeah, I remember. That was the one that stand out. Because, you see, it is like, I say, we point our fingers, so we cannot allow people to be pointing at us. That's the difficulty. So a lot of things that we cannot do normally as auditors, and we try to do that as much. That's why I work hard to have a reasonable remuneration package for the staff.
Actually,
they have a health insurance. Even before government thought about it. Yeah,
you had it.
We had it. Yeah,
and because you knew the risks.
Got them, this loan scheme, so that they can have build houses, buy cars, and
you were trying to avoid them from being induced or tempted to do. Oh, you didn't benefit yourself?
No, I've never benefited because I did not qualify.
Exactly.
By the time it came on, I have only a few years to go.
So you were retiring.
So I've never benefited. But all is done so that we have a good accountability. At least we need issues like that to be independent, because otherwise your work will be rubbish.
I was going to end the interview, but you talk about procurement, which was a very component central to that area. That's the area your reports have highlighted. So much corruption have taken place.
Most of the time.
How did you see the future of the transparency if procurement is still having a problem? What areas can they improve? I'm sure you dealt with this in your report, but this is the biggest problem. I mean, through procurement, a lot of money has been wasted. How do you think the government should go about that?
I think, like I said, government, their work is really cut out for them. They are only refusing to take it. There are recommendations. You look at this and make observations and make recommendations, for example. And all that they do is to implement those recommendations. That's what they needed to do. Because, so maybe this surcharge thing, if the original can implement it, that will also help. Instead of making recommendations or whatever, you can simply surcharge. Okay, you have done those expenditure, we do not agree. But then it involves a lot of work.
Absolutely.
Because then it means we have a legal department that is not populated yet. We have not employed, because the society is not on. That's why I did not employ any legal person, but I have created positions for a legal team so that they help in terms of preparing this, so that when the society comes in, they are ready. Because otherwise, because when you society, people will push back.
Of course.
So we need to stand on firm ground to make it. So there is a legal department that I told him, once you submit this to National Assembly, begin the recruitment of the legal personnel, so that because otherwise you are going to have a lot of trouble. There will be a lot of pushback. Yeah, once you begin to do society. But it's our government, leadership. The tone is set at the top. If the leader said, then everything will fall in place, believe me.
Good.
All that the leader needed to do is to ask for God's recommendations, and we'll all be fine.
Yes.
We'll all be fine.
Mr. Karamba Touray,
yes.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your becoming the Gambian of the Year.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for talking to us.
Grateful to this. And of course, grateful to the staff of the National Office.
You deserve everything. That's about it in this special edition with the Gambian of the Year, the Standard Newspapers Yearly Award for 2022. Join us next year when we will, of course, bring you another Gambian who have touched and made a lot of impact on the lives of the nation in the year coming. I'm Lamin Cham, wishing you have a great 2023.